Now, let's turn our attention to another developing story across the country, and this affects some members of parliament and equally governors across the country. It's highlighted on the cartoon edition of the Star newspaper that is up on air on your screens at the moment, and the police, Inspector General of Police, that is Hilary Mutyambai, who is behind the police, that is the police cap, and behind those who are decrying this as perhaps a manufacture of the deep state, among them Moses Kuria, Babu Owinos, Governor Mike Sonko, Aisha Jumwa, Ferdinand Waititu, and the others who have been cautioned following the statement yesterday released by police here in the country that those who misbehave will be, the guns will be, of course, recovered from them in regard or in line with the regulations that govern gun ownership here in the country. Cyrus, if I may come to you, this has equally led to some sparking of political talk or undertones in regards to who owns guns in the country following the drama that unfolded in a popular club here in the country that followed the shooting allegedly by the Embakasi East Member of Parliament, who is facing charges of an attempted murder in court. Is it one that is reasonable owing to the fact that we have more guns in civilian hands than the military and the police combined in the country?
Thank you. Looking at the gun drama and the gun issue, I believe first, the police or the Ministry of Interior should not come and snatch guns from the leaders just because of the cases they have. One, for Aisha Jumwa, fine, this is right. She was accused of murdering somebody at, or shooting
the
someone
brother to
at,
the now MCA.
Yes, in the coast, in the Cliffy. Now, for Babu Owinos, it is right. He misbehaved with the gun, and it was all over the media. But for the other legislatures, like
Waititu, Sonko,
Waititu,
Moses
Kuria, I've not seen them misbehaving with the gun or with the weapon they have. So for police to come and say they want to snatch them the guns, to me, I believe it is improper. The only people who are supposed to be denied or withdrawn the certificate from, they are the Babu Owinos and Aisha Jumwa, because of the pending issues with the gun. Now, when we talk of the other weapons that are there in circulation, there are so many. What the police need to do is to do the best investigations within the areas that are said to have. If it is Madare, if it is Dandora, if it is Isili, they need to have the best research or the best investigation in those areas so that they can get these guns, because they are there, yes, but how are you going to get them, okay? Then how are you going to stop this smuggling of guns? What we also need to identify is, where are we getting these guns from? Who are the suppliers of these guns? And what is the intention of these people supplying the guns to this common mwananchi who is not licensed, who are the illegal gun holders? And you may find that the illegal gun holders are still the licensed gun holders, because one may have, no, it is true, one may have a license to have one gun, okay?
Yes.
But he has some other illegal guns. And that's where you may find a gun was used to shoot someone, okay? But when they do their investigations, okay, they never find that gun. Why? And you may find this gun is of a prominent person. It's said to be of a prominent person. So we need to do these investigations and find out who are these smugglers of weapons in the country and what are their intentions. What do they need to achieve, or what are they protecting themselves from? Okay. Now you see, one person having like 5 guns or 5 pistols. For example, for the case of Obado, where he was found with were they 5 guns or 5 pistols in his house? What are they for? Okay, these are the questions. What are they for? What are you running away from?
But they were all licensed.
Fine, I don't object, but what are you running away from? Why do you need all this protection?
Your point is, why do you work with guns?
Why do you work with guns?
Why all the security?
And first of all, I'm the one who has elected you. Yeah. Okay, then when you come to me, you are coming with that weapon. Why? And you need my vote. So these are some of the things that we need to look, and there has to be measures. Okay, when we license these people, we should not license them for more than 5 guns. Why? If you have 5 police officers, it is right. But for one individual to have one, do you own an armor?
I'd want to replace in what he says. Number one, he says, well, we should not fight this battle of getting, sort of getting the guns from these particular holders who are licensed for that particular matter. So I would want to assume then he says that we're fighting, in a way, a wrong battle, in the sense that we are chasing the guns that are licensed. We're chasing people who probably have not done anything that would warrant, that label of a criminal, labeled on them. But then equally it says that it's important that we go deep in finding some of these guns that are not licensed. Lots of issues in regards to regulations of, gun holders in the country, and not just in the country, but across the world. The other time the United States was equally, trying to struggle with that, especially during that particular time when we know there were shots fired at students in school and all that. Pretty much unfortunate. So to what point then do we get to a point whereby we'll have proper regulations and get to balance this, such that when we have conversations of licensed guns that have not been well regulated in a sense?
I think, first of all, we were discussing that directive before we walked in here, and there's something I want to bring out clearly. One, there is a higher calling for one to be a leader. And if you want to present yourself out there to occupy public office, you must be a person of integrity.
Very true.
For you to find yourself there, there are privileges that follow. And I have used the word privileges. Privileges are given and privileges are taken, depending with how you hold yourself. Now, I think that it is important for us to define crimes and define punishment for equal crimes. Like he said, if a member of, not necessarily a member of parliament, if a public officer who enjoys the privilege of security and or holding a gun holds themselves in a manner that might risk the life of other people, then he becomes a threat. He's no longer an honorable. And the privilege of protecting them and or allowing them to hold a gun should be withdrawn.
Right.
If a public officer squanders money or mismanages money in a public office, how that relates with a gun might beat me. What they need to do is like what has been going on. Deny them the chance to access office because they are using their office in a bad way. So we need not be a country that uses law ad hocly without any reason as why we apply some of these laws. So if this, you see, like these new regulations that the police are giving are meant to save us from the likes of Babu and Aisha Jumwa. But then you use it across board for other people who, it might not give us the results that we are looking for. Because now, for example, Waitito, he's accused of corruption. How does that one relate with a gun? Now, if he's in court, in and out of court, and you've also denied him security, I mean, you are setting this man up for failure or even death and such kind of things. So we need to have a government that comes up with policies, rules, and regulations that are aimed at helping Kenyans in prosperity, not ad hocly. You do not use laws to target individuals because the government, like one white senator once said, the government will always eat
its
you.
own children.
Yes, even the person who thinks they are government today will go round circle and become civilian. And the same law that you are using to attack. There was, in 2017, there were people who came up with the counter, whatever, these ones are cybercrime acts. Because they were targeting individuals. There were individuals who were the Cyprians Nyakundis of those days, us who were always on the government's neck. But the same people who came up with those laws, I can tell you today, I know victims. So many of them who are victims and are crying foul. So we must not use laws to target individuals as opposed to addressing issues.
Okay, laws are meant for posterity, to govern the country, because we all agree that it's inevitable we will die, and another generation will come, will take over, but institutions remain, and how you deepen and anchor them is fundamental. Yes, your comment on this before we proceed.
Thank you. And today, Fred is a wise man.
I'm always a wise man.
Religiously wise.
And it's good. Fred has made a serious point. And we had that discussion when we were just coming in. That you don't allow a government to act inappropriately today because the government is supporting you. Because tomorrow that same government won't support you. And it will be worse. So, like Moses Kuria proposed that tear gas be bought in cans and in more concentrated forms. The other day,
tear gas is very
he was tear gassed and he said he can now smell a revolution. You know, we really don't want such scenarios.
Well, let me read you another, which is an interesting line from Ndindi Nyoro, who is the member of parliament. Before we finish up briefly and we go to politics. This was in 2017, 13 days before the repeat poll. It was an interesting post I saw from Facebook. I congratulate our security men for protecting innocent Kenyans from hooligan, goons, and barbarians in the name of NASA supporters. Their diabolical attempts must be met with the strong force of the law. We passed enough billions in the supplementary budget to cater for tear gas. I actually propose that the Interior Ministry releases the Kenya pipeline facilities to have enough tear gas in Kisumu, Migori, and specifically 1/6 pipe for Kondole in Kisumu. Kenya is for all of us, and some losers will not be allowed to destroy our businesses and economy. Below image is a cool, of course, it's a NASA member of parliament who was tear gassed inside his car. And he said, we must go for the planners and the generals of the rivers, enough for the rest. The former Kibra member of parliament, he means Raila, must get this kind of a dose. When he's back from his nonsense in the UK, so he was touched down in 17th, we are an African country, and Africa means business. So the other term is in his native Kikuyu language, which again all continues to backfire.
Yeah, so that is the same thing we're talking about. You don't allow a government to act wrongly because that government is a government you support. You know, today, I won't support the government to withdraw security for leaders with criminal cases because they are not defining which kind of crime. We must first be very definite that what are the kind of crimes that you will be denied security for. And you can't relate an economic crime with a gun crime. Those things do not match. Just as Fred is saying, Waititu and Aisha Jumwa cannot be treated the same in the face of law because those crimes are different. But then, if Cyrus Liswa wants to know the value of owning a gun, then you need to read The Mandate of the People by Margaret Atieno Ogola.
Okay.
When a candidate was lying there and a candidate was shot dead. So I really don't support that leaders should own private guns. That one I really don't support. I really believe that they must be provided with enough security by the government.
Okay.
And that a leader must have the decorum not to own a private gun, despite the fact that I'm aware that there is a process to acquiring a private gun. And that can be acquired by anyone, so long as you approve that you will act in a manner that satisfies. Then lastly, when Mutiambai says that if you do A with a gun, B will be done. You know, these things are in law.
Yeah.
So it's just not about verbal communication.
Yeah, these things are in law.
You have to abide by.
Yeah, there is a way in which if you misbehave with a gun, you will be denied access to that gun for at least a period of 5 years. So what is Mutiambai trying to say today? You know, if he's idle in the office, he needs to get some good business to do. Because these are things that have already been placed there. You can't give someone a gun without a procedure of getting it back if he misbehaves with it. So these things are already there. There is a way in which you must conduct yourself when you are privately licensed. And I believe the two members of parliament did not act in the best interest of the machinery that they own. Okay. If so be it, they did them. Okay. Because the clip that is provided for the area MP of Embakasi is an 18-second clip that only begins at shooting and ends up at a point when the is pulled out,
the victim, yes.
Yeah, to be taken to hospital. So we really don't know what transpired between that period. All the same, it was wrong, and it must be called out. But as he has said, yes, he has a side of the story that he will give us.
No problem.
So we would really want to...
That is subject to confirmation by the courts.
By the courts.
Yes.
And I also know the victim in person, a friend of mine, so I really don't want to say that he was wrong, Babu was, because both are my friends. But I really would wish to know, because these are good friends who eat lunch together, visit one another, then the next moment, one is shooting the other.
Okay.
All right, interesting. And of course, Honorable Moses Kuria in defense also reminds us that it's against the Parliamentary Service Act for the Inspector General of Police to unilaterally revoke the licenses of MPs' firearms, and he says it's the responsibility of the Parliamentary Service Commission, chaired by the National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi, to provide security to MPs, including modalities of being issued with a firearm. And I think that's in regards to the laws that he was talking about, that yes, there are laws on how you should proceed and revoke or why they should be having this. So we follow up on that story. We'll be updating you in regards to the same, of course, when they come in. But that aside, we cross over to the cartoon edition on the Daily Nation. If we could have that up, Madam Director, and we weigh in the sentiments in regards to what we think, or of course our interpretation of the same. Do we have it on screen?
Yes,
Yes, we have it on screen. And gentlemen, here we are on the question of the BBI. You can see Mdavadi right there. You can see Weta, sort of a meachwa kwa really. This is Halwale. I mean, not Weta. I mean Boni Halwale. Of course, it has to be him.
Who is Scottish?
Weta must be somewhere there.
To say Weta.
No, not really, not really. I guess
We
it's
know why,
because
there's no problem.
but Halwale is from the other end equally, I would want to assume so. But yes, it is Halwale and not Weta. What do you make of this cartoon edition, gentlemen, in regards to the BBI?
I think we
it
can
looks
take
like
Fred's
imetoka
sentiment.
sasa.
Yes.
As always,
Before
we
we
are
go on break
nachwa.
and come back. Yes, Fred, what's your
Halwale anaacha?
interpretation? Amedandia vizuri.
Amedandia vizuri na Halwale anaangalia, yani ni hivyo tu.
Okay.
Because it speaks a lot.
Speaks volumes.
Yes, there we go on the monitor screen.
I think...
He says I was fully consulted, and that is Musale Mudavadi before attending the Bukhungu BBI.
Mudavadi is late for the BBI.
Oh, you think so?
But just before he's late, he sees the bandwagon.
But he has been supporting all through, but late for the Bukhungu.
But no, that is what he has said. But if I'm just analyzing this cartoon, that the bandwagon had left, was leaving or had left. Then he realizes that the company that he is going to keep, which is Halwale, is not the right one. So he's left with one choice, either to be fully in BBI or just to hang on it. And he decides to hang on it. But following what he goes there on the stage and says, he wants us to believe that he's fully insider. But the cartoonist has realized that he's not actually fully inside. So the cartoonist is telling us that it was a late decision to abandon Halwale and just jump on whichever part of the BBI was left. And that is what I would make of it.
Can there be then the full acceptance, because the interpretation here is that it looks like he has left Halwale and company, and it's not at the forefront of the tray, meaning he's in between. Cyrus, if I may come to you, how does he get the balancing act right here in the end, and at the end of the day, that he doesn't want to end up with an egg on his face in wanting to be the kingpin of Mulembe Nation?
One thing about the kingpin I've always disputed, we having a kingpin.
But he was crowned in 2016 by Francis Atwoli.
Those were political crowning that comes during the political times.
But he is a political leader, isn't he?
Fine, I don't dispute, it is true. But for us, we don't need a kingpin in our region, and we shall never have one. That is one thing you should note. We shall never have one kingpin. Neither.
We'll disapprove you.
No, there's no day. No matter what.
We will disapprove you.
We are never going to have a
Anyway.
Now, let me speak on the cartoon. First of all, and today I'll say this, Nani has been, based on his statement from Bombas, he chose to work with the economy thing, on economic, and talking about the economies of the country and so on. So, and I asked this question sometimes back. When you say Wetangula and Mudavadi are not in the BBI, then why are their MPs being the ones leading the team in Zoya for the BBI meeting? Because on the 12th of January,
yes,
MPs from Ford Kenya and MPs from ANC spearheaded the meeting, and it was well managed in Zoya, okay, for the 18th, for the program of 18 to be success.
It was in Bungoma.
Okay, that was in Bungoma.
And Simiyu, SLE.
And SLE Simiyu attended. And you see, when you say that they are not part of it, then these are the strong supporters of these guys. Okay? Why were they there? What agenda were they sending?
Why was Musalia Mudavadi there now?
Mudavadi was there because he believes in BBI. That is one thing. Now I'm speaking as a Westerner. Not as a supporter, I'm speaking as a Westerner. Now,
you're removing us from the equation.
Now, yes, I'm speaking as a Westerner. Yes. And you see, one, Mudavadi has been consistent on his words. Whatever Halwale and the team were trying to do, they were trying to ride on him so that they can have him on the other side, so that they can taint his image on one or the other. It's just the same case, I can say, when Miguna was saying that he wants to come back. Now these idlers, so they can now cling to him and say, now you can come. That's why we saw Kina Moses Kuria talking, you can come, Kina Halwale talking, you can come. So people believe...
To be specific, say the DP allies.
Yes, the DP allies.
He's wearing the...
You see,
I would want to assume
people may think Miguna was on the DP side. No. And Miguna has never been on Ruto's side.
On anyone's side.
On anyone's side. He has never. So these people are desperate. They are looking at, we can bring Mudavadi on this side. And even Mudavadi himself said, I can never work with Ruto. And that one he has always declared, and he'll never work with him. So, on Mudavadi and the rectangular issue, they are consistent and they are with the BBI team. So they are going to work with it without any hesitation. So on the train, yes, it is perceived that they reached late at Buhungu, but they expressed they gave their statements, which was in tandem with the BBI. So they are not against the BBI. They are with the BBI. And now I'll defend them as my statesmen.
All right.
Yes.